Hello everyone, this is Andrea from Pink Pomelo Yoga. Today's practice is going to be a Yin Yoga deep stretch practice. So Yin is the opposite of Yang, which means that it will be a little bit slower. And we are working predominantly on the floor or on our mats. Now we will need 2 blocks as props. You don't necessarily have to use blocks. If you don't have blocks, you can use a stack of books, or you can just leave props away for the whole session. If you have never done Yin Yoga before, and if you are unsure, if you do have injuries, or if you're pregnant, please consult with your physician first. Let's start to center ourselves in our first pose for this practice. And we're beginning with a wide-legged child's pose. So come onto your mats. No props needed for this one first. Take your knees a little bit wider. And let your hips sink onto your heels or just as far as possible. You may, if you like, just rest your arms beside the body. Or extend your arms nice and long towards the front of your mat and relax your hands on the ground. Now just find your position and try to settle in. During this practice, I will be guiding you through. And because it's a Yin style practice, just some sort of meditation involved, we are holding our positions for at least 3 minutes. Now while we're here, just notice your breath. Try to center yourself and be completely present in this very moment. Notice the sensations with each breath. Notice a rising sensation with each breath in, and a falling sensation with each breath out. And try to make your breaths a little bit longer. Breathing in a little bit deeper. And breathing out a little bit longer. Continue to breathe. Slow and deep breaths. Now throughout this practice, I'd like you to focus on 3 things. The 3 principles of Yin Yoga. The first principle is find a pose that works for you. There is no correct alignment in Yin Yoga. And if your body doesn't look exactly as mine in a pose, then that is completely fine. You need to find your own pose. And you need to find a pose that you will be able to hold for a little bit longer. The second principle is resolve to remain still. Stillness is essential in Yin Yoga. Being still in body and mind. And the third principle of Yin Yoga, once you have resolved to remain still, stay still for time. Staying still for time is very important to achieve or to take in the benefits of a Yin Yoga practice, then only if we remain still for a longer period of time, we'll be able to reach the deeper layers in our body, the connective tissues, fascia, ligaments, all of those things that we don't really think about when we exercise typically. We focus rather on our muscles. In Yin Yoga, we go deeper than just stretching our muscles. Now take a few more rounds of deep breaths here. Breathing in and long breath out. Breathing in and long breath out. And one more deep breath in and long breath out. Now slowly come into a rebound position. Slowly press your hands into the ground and take your knees closer to each other and just come into a seated position. And just stay in this pose for a few moments. Maybe notice sensations in your body. Sensations in the hips. And if you do feel the need to move, you are welcome to move. So maybe you would like to come into a downward facing dog just to give the legs a little bit of a stretch. Maybe come into a walking dog, bending one knee at a time. And then slowly just coming back into your seated position. We're now transitioning into a second pose for this practice. Malasana, garland pose. Still working on opening up our hips, but we're also targeting our ankles and we're opening the chest depending on which option you choose. Now there will be a few options for you as we're all different and maybe some of us are quite tight in the ankles. So Malasana, typically your heels are on the ground. But for some of us, this is not possible. So you can, if you do have blocks or if you do have some books, you can place them under your heels. If you don't have anything that you can place under your heels, you are welcome to just keep your heels up. And you'll notice in time that you will be able to slightly go deeper. This is one option with blocks under your heels, or another option is to sit on a block, sit on a little elevation. And if you've done this before, and if you are not too tight in your ankles, you might want to hold your pose without any props. A few options: if you would like to open the chest, take your elbows pressing towards the inner thighs or your knees, hands in prayer pose, open the chest. Or if you feel like you just want to relax the upper body, then just bow down forwards and rest your hands on the ground. Now remember, find your pose, take as much time as you need, and once you've found the pose that works for you, stay still. And we're staying here for about 3 minutes. Now if you are still moving around or if you're still readjusting, then you might not have found your pose yet. And in a Yin Yoga practice, it is totally normal to feel discomfort in the body, especially in the areas that we are working on. And discomfort is fine. Try to find comfort in your temporary discomfort. And also be mindful that this discomfort is not any extreme pain. There's only a few reasons why we would release ourselves from a particular pose, and most of the time it is if you do feel extreme pain in your joints, then you're welcome to release. And if you're new to a practice like this, you might feel a bit overwhelmed emotionally or mentally, and it's also okay to release at any stage. You can always come into child's pose if you feel like you just want to stay in child's pose. Then refocus and join us again whenever you're ready. Remember to breathe deep breaths in and long breaths out. Your breath is a very important component of a Yin Yoga practice. It will distract you from the temporary discomfort that you might be experiencing, and it will help you stay focused and still. If you're still finding it difficult to let go of thoughts, you might want to start to count your breaths. Maybe count them to 10. And once you've reached 10, start from 1 again. Or whenever you get distracted, start from 1 again. You're almost there. Let's take 5 more breaths in, out, breathing in and out. 1 more deep breath in and long breath out. Now slowly release. Lean slightly forwards. Maybe you want to come into downward facing dog or just remain in child's pose. It's your choice. And again, just observe sensations in the body. And if you do feel like you need to move, then you are welcome to move. And once you feel ready, slowly make yourself on your way back to a seated position. And our next pose is going to be a little bit of a deeper hip opener. And I'll give you 3 options. So we're coming into a dragon pose from here. Now you can start in a seated position and come onto your knees. And we're taking our right foot towards the front of our mat. So we're stepping our foot towards the outside of our right hand. Now slowly try to sink in a little bit deeper with your hips. Readjust. We are targeting our hips here. Now your hands are on your mat towards the inside of your foot. And if you like, you can stay here with your hands on the mat, or you can lift the chest, the upper body. Maybe you rest your hands on your thigh and just open the chest. Another way to go deeper into this pose is maybe to place your hands down onto the ground and come onto your elbows if that's within reach. If you do need some elevation, you can place your blocks or books under your forearms. And to go even deeper here, walk your right foot towards the outside edge of your mat. Maybe turn your leg out a little bit. Now remember, these are all just options, and try not to choose the hardest option. Because we're staying here for a bit longer, try to hold one position for longer. A common misconception in a Yin Yoga practice is that you need to feel a deep stretch, and people force themselves into a particular pose using a lot of muscle strength so that they can feel the stretch. But that is not what Yin Yoga is about. Yin Yoga is about relaxing the muscles and trying to use minimal muscle strength to hold a pose. Now some poses are slightly more active than others, and a dragon pose is slightly active, depending on which options you choose. A Yin Yoga practice is teaching us how to let go, especially how to let go of our ego, the need of wanting more, the need of going further, deeper. Yin Yoga is here to let us explore the limitations of our body and mind. We're not staying here for too long. Take a few more rounds of breath, breathing in and out. Deep breath in and out. One more deep breath in and long breath out. And slowly, wherever you are with your upper body, try to lift the upper body and maybe place your hands or frame your hands, or frame your right leg with your hands. We're slowly going to extend our right leg, so coming into a little half split here. Now just make sure It doesn't really matter actually how you are aligned in this, as long as you can stretch your right leg out for a little bit. Maybe if you want to move the ankle, you're welcome to do so. And again, it's your choice if you want to move around a little bit more and maybe extend both legs here and just sit on the ground for a while. And once you feel ready, come back to your starting position, either on all fours or kneeling. And we are going to open the other side. So we're placing our left foot towards the top of the mat this time, coming into our little lunge. And transition into a dragon of your choice. So ideally you would like to practice the same variation that you have done on the other side. But just be mindful that there are limitations. Injuries might prevent you from doing the exact same thing on one side than the other. So just always listen to the body. That's very important in this kind of practice. Listen to your body and do what is good for you. Once you've found your pose, resolve to remain still and stay still for about 3 minutes. Focus on your breath. Long and deep breaths. Remember that any discomfort that you might be feeling is just temporary. Remember that if you feel extreme pain in your joints, readjust or release yourself from this pose. Keep breathing. If you do get distracted, count your breaths to 10 and start from 1 again if you lose track. Enjoy stillness just for a few more moments. Let's take our last 3 rounds of deep breaths in this pose. Breathing in and long breath out. Deep breath in and long breath out. Deep breath in and long breath out. And now slowly come into your counter pose, your half split, And stretch your left leg out this time. Move it around if you need to. If you feel like you want to do something else than just stretching this leg, then you're welcome to do something else. Or maybe just lie down already if that's what you need. We are going to slowly transition into our final pose, Shavasana. Now if there's anything that you need to move, any body part that needs some extra attention before we come into complete stillness, please move. Maybe you want to take your knees in and just rock from side to side. Maybe you want to come into a little twist, right, and then left. And once you feel ready, relax the whole body down onto the ground. Legs are wide, and let your feet turn out into any direction that they want to. Take your arms a little bit wider than your mat, palms facing up. Now let's take a deep breath in through the nose and releasing long sigh out through the mouth. One more deep breath in and long sigh out. Now try to let go of any kind of focus. Let go of the body. Let the body sink into the ground. Let the body be heavy. Surrender to the support of the earth beneath you. I am grounded. My spirit is grounded deep in the earth. I am calm, strong, centered and peaceful. I'm able to let go of fear and trust that I'm eternally safe. I'm worthy of all things beautiful. And now slowly bring the attention back to your surroundings. Notice any sounds around you. Bring the attention back to your body and feel the different body parts touching the ground. Notice the heaviness in your body. And then notice that there is some lightness within this heaviness. Lightness in your toes, lightness in your fingers. And slowly find some movement back to the body, wiggling the toes, wiggling the fingers, and maybe moving our head from side to side. Whenever you feel ready, you're welcome to take your knees in, give yourself a nice big hug. And eventually we are going to roll over to one side of our mat and take one last little moment here to observe. Observe the body. Observe the mind. And observe the heart. And whenever you feel ready, lift yourself back up into a seated position. Let's take our hands to heart center and gently bow down to show ourselves some gratitude. Gratitude towards our body. And gratitude towards this practice. Namaste. Hope you enjoyed this practice, and I'll see you next week.